So this is the fourth installment of the Love is Blind review, couple by couple. And we're talking about AD and Clay. And this might be a long conversation, and it might not be something that a lot of you want to hear. But it's going to be a lot of things that a lot of people need to hear, especially people in black relationships. Bitch, let me tell you something. Hey, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? So, we are having to have this conversation about AD and Clay. And disclaimer, I want to evoke grace for everybody involved. Clay's mom and dad, AD's mom and dad, Clay and AD. We are going to hold a lot of parties accountable today. And this is a conversation that is not necessarily comfortable and nice and fun, but it's necessary. Let's get into it. First off, the first crack to the veil that we saw was when Clay was making it abundantly clear that looks were a point of contention for him, even though he is on a show that he signed up for and signed a contract for that is called Love is Blind.
My worst fear is like we fall in love, we have this beautiful connection. It's like, you know, we do the reveal and it's like, oh, wow, like we never really talked about physical. And like, that is important to me. Like Love is Blind, like I get it, trust me, I get it. I just want to have that reveal door and like, you know, be super turned on by my wife.
Let's just talk about what everybody's been talking about. Clay does ring like a dude that enjoys lighter skin, ambiguous, mixed, or white women. I can see that ringing for him. And what's crazy is just before I could even finish editing this video, he was caught on Selena Powell's Instagram page talking about my man. If you don't know who Selena Powell is, she's a well-known industry hooker. Like, she is a sex worker in the industry. She gets with elite men and she has sex with them and she gets a coin. And what's funny is that he had all of these requirements for AD to be his wife, finances and all this other shit, which I know when men, especially cishet, bring up finances, it's bullshit. And then you get with a bitch that you gotta pay for, but you don't have the requirement for her. And the question is, why don't you have all these financial and emotional requirements for her that you did with AD? Which we'll get into later in this video, but it looks to me like he likes what I said, light-skinned or ambiguous or non-black women. Let's just get into it. Looks being a point of contention for him should have been a big red flag. I honestly feel like because of his history, because of his trauma, because of all of the things that he encountered and he went through, I don't see there being a world where Clay would have picked anybody and still been able to conduct a healthier relationship. A lot of y'all claim that looks are extremely important to you. A lot of y'all do not see things beyond looks. A lot of y'all are very shallow. A lot of y'all are very aesthetically motivated. And let me tell you why that is not serving you. Because looks are not a function of somebody's personality, morals, behavior, or traits. Looks do not indicate anything about you. Looks are basically just a genetic lottery. You don't have to do nothing to get them. You may have to do something to maintain them, but you do nothing to get them, and you have zero control as to whether or not they go away. Attraction, physical attraction, is not a solid foundation to build a relationship off of. It's not. It can be an important factor. It could be a cutesy-wootsy moment, but it is not solid enough, stable enough for you to build an entire relationship off of looks. Looks can be a factor, but they should not ruin an equation. If you are just completely and utterly unattracted to somebody like Chelsea and Jimmy, because we're going to keep it real, that was the case, then that's fine. But if you are making major life decisions based off of the physical appearance of somebody, you are already moving on shaky foundation. A lot of y'all gonna let looks get you fucked up and leave you dying alone. A lot of y'all do not understand that even if you are a Lori Harvey or a Beyonce or a Ruby Rose, that one health incident, one major incident, one thing, a pregnancy, a car accident, an illness, a disability, a traumatic situation, one bad night with drugs, one bad night with alcohol. There's so many things in this world that can make you go from looking like Ruby Rose to looking like Boo Boo the Fool. You can get darker. Your nose can spread. You can start developing cystic acne. There's so many things that can happen in your life that can cause you from going from a 10 to a 2. I don't want somebody who's in a relationship with me, committed marriage, that to be a determining factor as to whether or whether not they maintain their commitment. And that's what AD was talking about. She wasn't afraid that he might not find her attractive. She did not like the value system that was associated with why looks were so damn important. Let's move on to the second thing with Clay. Because even though Clay may have been the problem, AD was also a personal pain manufacturer. If I had to take a shot every time Clay said, I'm afraid I might cheat on you. I don't want to cheat on you. I don't want to be the one to cheat on you. My daddy cheated. I don't know how to not cheat. If I had to take a shot every time he said that, I would have been pissed drunk with alcohol poisoning in an urgent care ER. And blam. Guys, y'all weaponize honesty so bad. Now let's talk about it. Every single time you cannot show up for the occasion with the right mental headspace, with the right emotional headspace, with the right spiritual headspace, you always do this disclaimer in the beginning that you believe absolves you from all of the actions that take place after the disclaimer. And I'm here to tell you, you can't get off that easy. Yes, would I much rather somebody show me who they are and then I make a decision so I don't get tricked and swindled? Sure. But at the end of the day, both of y'all are cut from the same cloth. One of you is just delusional, and the delusional one is you. Weaponized honesty is something that a lot of y'all men learn because a lot of women's, the bar was just in hell. Just tell me the real. Just keep it real. If you at least tell me, then I can make... And that was a sentiment that was said by many of women who've experienced a lot of pain and heartbreak in relationships. Y'all took that and y'all took it super literal and be like, okay, so if I just tell her that then it'll be okay to do that. I could tell you that I'm going to put you to gunpoint and rob you. It don't mean that when I do it, you can't press charges and I can't go to prison. Just saying something to somebody does not mean you should still engage in the immoral behavior. And that it still doesn't mean that you should not be held accountable and liable for your actions. I wish a lot of men would get past that mental health arc of diagnosing the problem. Understanding the problem, accepting the problem. Y'all get to that self-awareness stage and then y'all just live there. Y'all have to understand how to grow and heal beyond self-awareness. What do you think awareness is for? For you to recognize that you have a problem so that you can recognize how to fix it. Self-awareness is not just there for you to know that you're a low vibrational human being and to continue to vibrate lowly. That's not what self-awareness is supposed to do. You done spent all of this money doing all of this shit. You done became this person, did this show, and you didn't even show up the way you were supposed to show up to adequately conduct a romantic relationship on this show. There's a healing that needs to take place. There's an accountability that needs to take place. After I recognize, oh, I have a pathology of not being faithful in relationships. Why is that? What is my relationship with black women? What is my relationship to black men? What is my relationship with myself? What's my relationship with my self-esteem, my ego, my sexuality? What's my relationship with sex? What's my relationship with monogamy? Who am I? What do I want? How do I operate in this space healthily? What can I do to hold myself accountable? Who is going to be my tribe that holds me accountable to the change and the healing that needs to be conducted so I can have a healthy romantic relationship? That needs to happen. And Clay, you just completely passed go, did not collect your $200. Now that I have said that about Clay, AD, I'm going to hold your hand, sister girl. There's a few things that you did that disturbed my spirit and the spirit of a lot of black women that were watching. You leaned, and I'm not victim blaming because I also called them out because they was dead wrong. I called Laura and Jeremy out, and I called out Chelsea and Jimmy. But you leaned so much into your body for a specific type of validation that came from a place of bad faith. Yes, you have a banging body. Yes, you should rock it. Yes, you should strut that body. Yes, you could shake that ass, bounce some titties. Put your hand down, flip your hair, shake the bounce some titties. Flip your hair, stick your hand out, bounce some titties.
First you gotta flip your hair, stick your hand out, bounce titties. Flip your hair, stick your hand out, bounce titties.
It's a good time. Because you know me, I be throwing ass on the net. And we talked about it in the whores versus the good girls conversation, shaking that ass. In this house, we will shake some ass. We have said that many a time. But the problem that I have with you is that you did not see value in your attractiveness and who you are and your physical appearance outside of your body being sexualized. And it's not your fault that your body was sexualized, but you did lean into it just a little bit. And a lot of the times, I also felt like that was the society or the social situation as to where you had to either lean in it to break the ice, or that was the only time that you felt somebody was genuinely trying to give you a compliment. Chelsea said your ass is cute. Jimmy said your ass is cute. Laura and Jeremy was trying to bean dip you. And then your man, when you walking down the aisle trying to be with your forever somebody, the first thing he said was body.
Okay, body.
You see him? It was a very seldom where I heard somebody call you beautiful, call you pretty, say you were gorgeous, say you were ravishing, breathtaking. And I've experienced this a lot as a darker skinned black woman who's also fat, where a lot of the compliments people give me have been body based. Oh, you got a fat ass, which I don't think I do, but I've heard it. This is what y'all said, not me. Oh, them titties, they sitting up, they look so soft. You give me such good hugs. So the worth of my image and my appearance are in body parts that you are given a sexual connotation to. That is not the best place to be. And when those are the only things that people base your physical appearance compliments on, you lean into it. It's not about me being pretty. It's about me being sexy. And as wonderful and necessary as feeling sexy is, it comes to a point to where you feel like a piece of meat. Also, AD, you did not stand on no business. You said you played in my face at the reunion. I just feel like you used me to do it at the wedding when he said that he was like discovering himself and you felt like he used you to do it. And you use yourself. There's a certain amount of access that black women need to deny men period, when it comes down to our capacity and us giving way more than we're receiving. There's a certain denial of access that we have to practice, because Black women will get used every single time as emotional lightning rods for Black broken men. It's not fair, it's not right, but it happens. It's the mammy trope. It's the we gotta cook, we gotta clean and wash everything. We gotta be your ride or die. We gotta be your Bonnie to your Clyde. We gotta be the shoulder for you to cry on. We gotta ride. We gotta give you the good cooch. We gotta back. It's all types of shit that Black women are required, energy that we are required to exert in romantic relationships that are not always reciprocated. We are taught that we have to be seen and not heard. We are taught that we have to do this and do that, think like a man, act like a woman, do this and do that. You gotta do this, you gotta act like that, you gotta know how to do that, you gotta know how to be like this. And this is all just for us to get a man who at the end of the day benefits from this transaction, and we don't. All of this about how to get a man and how to keep a man. But there's no seminars on how to get us and keep us. There's no, oh, this is what you got to do to get a good Black woman. This is what you got to present. This is the type of effort. There's not a whole lot of content dedicated to holding men to that impossible standard to please Black women. And you were used in that case because you did not deny certain access. Also, your mother was just so happy for you to be chosen. And I think that you have a pathology of just being grateful to be chosen. And I think you thought that he was being vulnerable with you when telling him his pathology with his cheating father. But in reality, he was weaponizing his honesty and trying to see how far you would go to take it. That's why he was doing all that extra shit at the altar, because that man knew that he was not ready to marry you when he asked you. And something about Clay was just ringing very he blinked a lot, and I don't know if that's like a little tick or if it was just like a Freudian thing so that he could look as believable as possible when he was trying to go through the bullshit and the rigmarole. But he was a very blunt soul, but something about him wasn't super honest. Let's talk about Clay's father. You are at your son's wedding, and the whole time you are talking about yourself. Class A narcissism. You literally walk around as if you are the king of all spaces that you're in. And then you try to act as if everything is all cool. And that conversation with the mother about I got you, you are so boosted from getting somebody doing something that you did not complete successfully. You're divorced. She had to remind you, but you were not good to me. And the problem that I have is that his mama, she did divorce him, but his mama was dangerously quiet. She did not see that her son clearly was not ready and advised him to think about the Black woman that he was entering this relationship with and be better, do better, or dip. There was not a lot of advice given to Clay from his father or his mother in any way that was engaged in to benefit AD. AD's people was over there talking about, oh, I love that his mother, I love her. Everything they was talking about was to uplift Clay. But her mama was just so focused on, he's a good man, Savannah.
He's a good man, Savannah. A good man.
Everybody keeps saying that. I just felt like after he left her at the altar, what the is there for us to talk about? He did that, like Sydney Noir said, talk to you after you got from the altar just to make sure that he still had access to you. And like a fool, you continue to not deny him access. And the issue with this relationship that is the worst is that he absolutely would have cheated on her and she absolutely wouldn't have left. And all that shit y'all talked at the reunion and she was talking about you flaying my face. He was like, yes, bitch. Y'all are fucking still.
Anyway, he has got to be stopped. I'm serious.
And the exhaustion that I'm not about to exhort, especially for my fellow queens and sisters, is trying to talk somebody out of being with a nigga that they gonna be with anyway. I can't do it. I'm not about to waste my breath to try to out-talk pillow talk. I can't do it. And I gotta put me first, Lucius.
I gotta put me first. I gotta put me first. I gotta put me first, Lucius. I understand that, and I promise you.
I'm not about to sit up here and engage and be more mad about your f***ed up relationship than you are. Sorry. Clay and AD had no business leaving them pods. And AD, who only went on the date with Matthew to prove some fake ass point. You only went on a date with Matthew to make Clay jealous. You only went on a date with Matthew to prove something to yourself that you still wanted. You didn't want Matthew. It was a fruitless venture because Clay did not give a fuck. Because it didn't matter who you went on a date with. It don't matter who you seeing. It don't matter who you fucking. Clay know he got your ass on lock. And that is scary. I want any man that I'm committed to feel and to trust that I'm going to be there. But I don't want no man to think that my presence is guaranteed regardless of their behavior. And that's what he knew with you. Everything he described about you, that the reason why he wanted to marry you, he said because the sex is great, which is sexualizing you as a black woman, for one. For two, because you put up with all of his shit. She holds me down. I know you gonna be there for. He just knows that you ain't going no damn where. And that's a dangerous place to be as a black woman. Period. I also want to make a comment about the audience. You guys hypersexualized the out of AD. Then slut shamed her for her dress. And that was completely inappropriate. Y'all don't have the right to do it. The conversation was not happening from good faith like what we talked about earlier. It was coming from a place of misogynoir. Even if you were a black woman engaged in that conversation, it was internalized misogynoir. And a lot of the audience felt so comfortable making AD the punching bag for all of the criticisms because she was a dark-skinned black woman. Also, another thing that I'm going to mention that goes back to appearance is that a lot of y'all ran her through the mud about her leave out and about her makeup during the wedding. Was I a fan of her makeup during the wedding? Personally, myself, no, I wasn't. But y'all did not hold that makeup standard for everybody across the board. Amy, that's you. You're the board. Y'all did not hold this beauty standard that y'all held for AD, whether it was justified or not, for anybody else on the cast. Because y'all said Chelsea looked like Natalie Nunn, but y'all never told her that she needed to comb her hair and do her makeup better. It was plenty of times that lipstick was rubbing off because she don't got that protrude on the lips like a black girl. Because, you know, she had that little rub off. And y'all did not say shit about her lipstick. Y'all constantly make black women feel like they have to always be on point, or else they'll make fun of you. There's this saying that there was this person, I forgot what it was, but it's this thing that they said when I went to a HBCU or when I went to a college where I was being around black people, I always had to make sure that I looked a certain way. I know that when I'm around white people, I can let my hair be wild. Also, lip gloss. She said, oh, this is my hair. It's just, I'm going to just wear it as it naturally is and with no maintenance. And this is the type of hair that's going to pull white boys. It's a joke, a running joke in our community that when we don't look our best or we not done up or we not fixed up, then we hang around white people and it's fine. They probably gonna think it's cute or whatever. But when I'm around black people, I gotta dress like I'm at the goddamn Met Gala. We gotta stop that because it doesn't serve us. It's respectability for one. For two, it's just anti-black. And for three, it's also misogynistic. And it's also, it doesn't serve us. Yes, do your best to look as good as you want to look. However, at the end of the day, y'all are super critical of people's appearance and their upkeep for black women that y'all don't do for everybody else. Also, I spoke about this earlier during the Jeremy, Laura, and Sarah Ann video. AD, you ain't had no business trying to go over there and check Sarah Ann about somebody else's man. Because you didn't have none of that energy for your own situation. It's always so funny how when women are engaged in a dumb dodo-ass relationship, they can see everybody else's problems so clear, but they can't come home. The call is coming from inside the house, sweetie. It wasn't an eat or a read like you thought it was. But I want to have grace for you because I understand the pathology that happens in our community that would allow you to make the type of desperate, because it was desperate, decisions that you made regarding Clay. Also, another thing I want to mention. I told y'all this video was going to be hard and long. No pun intended. But another thing that I wanted to mention is I think that you was lost in the sauce too. I don't think that you would have put up with Clay as much if the dick wasn't fire and he didn't look the way he looked. Me personally, I am more of a Kenneth type of girl. That's just me. But you thought he was fine and sexy. And a lot of the times, women, our judgment can be swayed, especially when we don't feel that way about ourselves. We feel like we got somebody out of our league, so-called. Our judgment can be jaded. So you put up with a lot of shit from him because you were just a little bit shallow as well. You wanted somebody to love, but when you found out you got you a nice little chocolate hunk that could give you some chocolate pumps, you were not upset. And it did adjust your decision process making. It did. Let's keep it a bean. Let's keep it a stack. There's no need of having this conversation if we're not going to keep it a stack. There were a lot of things that happened with AD and Clay, and one thing I hated was that they were the only black relationship on this season, and this was the representation that we got. Y'all was all shook when he left her at the altar. I'm telling you right now, I knew that was going to happen. And I knew that no matter what their relationship looked like on the camera, she was always going to come running back. There's nothing. AD, stand up.
How do you hoes act like if you ain't in no relationship, you gon' die? Y'all be weak in the knees. Stand up. Stand up.
You deserve more than a man who's preparing already before he even marries you to cheat on you. You are worth more than a man who has serious emotional issues. You are worth more than that, but you also need to address your emotional issues. There are, and I'm not trying to blame women for having a bad picker, because honestly, there shouldn't be so many bad pickings. We're going to start there first. But unfortunately, in the real world, okay, sorry, let me get it back on track. But living in the real world, black women, we have to operate with some form of discernment and protection. We don't get the luxury of just leaning into being a good person and keeping it pushing. And unfortunately, whatever you allow, you're responsible for. You're not responsible for whatever happening to you. The steps that you take after what's happened has happened. A lot of the times when we're having this conversation, it's not victim blaming, it's victim prevention. And we're going to have this conversation in my boundaries video. But boundaries are not about telling somebody yes, no, maybe so about what they can and cannot do. It's not about giving out rules. It's about giving yourself rules. It's about saying, this is what I don't put up with. You do what you want to do, and my reaction to whatever it is that you want to do is going to be solid. I don't put up, me personally, Dijah, the diva, she don't put up with cheating. I don't put up with cheating. Cheating is not something that I do. So that means that no matter how good the sex is, how cute the man is, no matter how long we've been together, no matter how much I like you, love you, want to kiss and hug you, if you cheat on me, I'm gone. That is my deal breaker. And I don't negotiate with my non-negotiables. You don't have that type of business, AD. You don't stand on that type of business. You don't have no non-negotiables. Your non-negotiable is to not be lonely. None of y'all were ready to get married. None of y'all was ready to get married. And that's okay. It's a whole bunch of people not ready to get married signing up for a marriage show. And I was just very, very stunned with y'all's relationship. I'm not going to lie. And I thought that there was an added racial layer that needed to be talked about the amount of emotional labor that is required of Black women in all relationships. There's this thing that says Black women can't be introverts at work. Y'all require emotional labor, and a crazy amount of emotional labor from Black women in all settings. At work, at home, in relationships, in dating, in friendships. There's never a soft place for Black women to land. And that is something that was very evident with watching AD and Clay's relationship. Real tea. A lot of y'all need to stop asking what Black women can do for y'all and what we bring to the table, and asking us, how can we serve y'all? Y'all never ask us, what do you need? What can we do for you? It's all about what we can bring and what we can do for you. What we bring to a table and how we can service all these people. Even people who harm us. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Please make sure that y'all like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Also tell me in the comments, my Black folks, my Black women, my Black femme folk, tell us how you feel about the emotional labor that's involved in romantic relationships from Black women. Let's talk about weaponized honesty. Let's talk about pathology and cheating. Let's talk about hypersexualization of the Black woman's body. Let's talk about making better decisions when men present to you their toxic ass behavior. Let's have that conversation down in the comments. Also, make sure that y'all check out my Patreon. It's linked below. Make sure you get a $5, $10, $15, or $25 per month subscription. Patreon members get exclusive access, early access to all videos and all content, DIVAGANG Productions or DijahDiva. And also, they get exclusive lives, exclusive content, uncut, raw, unedited content. So please make sure that y'all check that out. And bye, divas.
It's your girl Dijah, and I'm about to rip the cipher. I went to New York with these bars like it's Rikers. Got these niggas shook, yeah, these niggas acting hyper. If that